And apologies there for that break in the transmission from Choko, where my colleague Maxwell Adodba is. We'll be bringing you more from there. Aside the issue of social distancing and the lack of enforcement and adherence to the wearing of face masks, there's also the issue of the process so far. They're claiming that they have been given numbers to make the registration process quite smooth, but that has not been followed, and they would want the security agencies, the officials there, to help control that situation. We'll be bringing you more as far as the registration exercise is concerned. Our reporters are all over the country monitoring the process, and we'll bring you up to speed. Right now, I want us to talk about online protection or cyber protection for children. And as you may know, that picture of the actress and comedian Akuapem Poloo, as she's popularly known, and her son has gone viral, and the gender ministry has taken notice of this. They have expressed concern. We understand that she's been invited by the CID as well to answer some questions for exposing her son in that manner. This has raised the issue of protection and cyberbullying as far as children are concerned. We'll be having a short conversation on that. Let's speak to the Executive Director of Child Online Africa, Awo Amenya, and she joins us. Thank you very much, madam, for your time. I'm sure you've seen the picture of Akuapem Poloo. She later made a video to say that she didn't intend to expose the child and that this is a normal relationship that exists between the two of them. What do you make of that?
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers, and thanks for the opportunity. I don't want to read into her text because you and I know too well that what we saw in the picture spoke volume, and the fact that children are confronted with too many issues nowadays. It's worrying to see such images coming out and coming from somebody who has a number of followers. So for her to say that she didn't intend to expose the child, there were instances where I read about the fact that, oh, he sees that every day. So what is wrong with it? I mean, such pronouncements do not commensurate what is being said, that she didn't intend to expose the child. The truth is that the internet has made pornography anonymous, affordable, and accessible to a number of people. And as parents, we are now confronted with so many issues of having to deal with or understand memes, jargons, and a couple of other things. If I go back to her trends or what she does online, I don't need a PhD in media studies to say that she's been abusing all of us, including her child. Her images online do not speak well of anybody. So if she's made herself a hypersexualized human being, it only presupposes that the child has a right to be protected from unseen, inappropriate content, so to speak. And therefore, the Ministry of Gender, the CRI, and all other agencies that have interest in this have every right to say that the child needs protection, the child needs his best interest secured. It would also interest you to know that we have issues of rape and indecent attack on women and all of that happening around. This is how all those things start. Research shows that any child who is introduced to porn below the age of 12 has a tendency of reduced empathy on even rape victims, and his intimacy level goes down as well. And so for me, I wouldn't be surprised if I hear the next time that the child is masturbating or the child has slapped a like that is what will be happening, or that is what it is. So there's a lot we need to do about that. It's not enough for her to say that she's not going to do it again.
And I'm just wondering,
not take her for her word, because she's noted for things around that.
Would you agree with those who are saying, madam, that because of what she's done, perhaps the child should be taken away from her, at least for a while, to be taken through some, psychological, he needs some psychological attention, essentially. And would that be lawful?
I think both of them require psychological support. Her behavior, for me, does not speak well. So little did I know she even has a child. So now that we all know she's got a 7-year-old child, she needs support. There's something fundamentally wrong with her. So let's not downplay that aspect. So she needs help. The child needed to also undergo some sort of reintegration and a bit of psychological counseling.
But I'm just looking at the aspect of taking the child away from her. Would that be lawful? I know you're very familiar with that space.
I lost you on that.
Yes, so I wanted to find out, will taking the child away from her, however short or, whatever the period is, would that be lawful?
We are not talking about if the child is supposed to be taken from her, there are procedures.
Okay.
And she would have to be made to agree to such procedures so that in the end they all receive help. So it's not the punitive approach of just taking the child away, because if that is done, there's a high possibility of she repeating that again because she hasn't shown remorse for her action. So she has to be taken through the process to understand the repercussions of her action, and subsequently maybe enter an agreement with either the police or the Ministry of Gender that she isn't going to repeat that again, and that she can be monitored. So I think the interest of the child is paramount, and the child belongs to the state to some extent. So there has to be that dialogue, there has to be that agreement between the state and the mother. So then proper action is put in place.
But on the general issue of cyber abuse, you mentioned that children are exposed because the internet is really a free space. What can we do to protect our children in that regard? Is there much we can do?
There's a lot we can do, and that is what we do with all the strength in us. It's important the education goes out there. Okay. This lockdown period has made even porn sites the most visited sites than Netflix and Amazon and all those other sites. So if that is what research is telling us, it is obvious, like I said earlier, porn is now, the internet has made pornography anonymous, affordable, and accessible. So the education around it and the effect of it on the young person has to go very far. And I feel that, considering the fact that there are protocols for the internet, the only way we can go smoothly on the issue of education is to make safety education a lifestyle in the home. With that, then we can be sure that we are raising a generation that will know that porn has effect on me and will not voluntarily go in for it.
So beyond that, are there technical, for instance, measures we can put in place in our schools, for instance, to help address these issues? Hello, madam. I think we lost her briefly there. We'll try and rectify that and bring her response to you. Would also be reaching out to the cyber unit to find out what is being done. We know that they're working very hard to put in place the infrastructure to reduce cyberbullying, not just for children, but we'll be zooming in on the issue of how children are affected by this. If we have Madam Amenya on the line. Madam, I was just asking, beyond the issue of education, what can we do technically to make sure that we limit access, for instance, to certain sites as far as children are concerned and the spaces that we find them, schools and all of that?
My brother, the fact is that there are technical procedures which could be carried out. But it would also interest you to know that there are a whole bunch of adults who are interested in that content. So in order not to make it look like we are depriving them of their rights, the education camp stops for me. And again, the other aspect will be the restriction. Let's say, for instance, Facebook is not admitting children below 13. But assuming a mother or a father gives the phone to the child at this time, maybe Facebook is even too far.
Too bad we lost that feed there, but that was the Executive Director of Child Online Africa, Akuapem Amenya, joining us with her views following that story about the CID inviting Akuapem Poloo to answer some questions for exposing her son in the manner, her 7-year-old son. We're taking a short break. When we return, we'll bring you more here on Newsdesk. Stay with us.